5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to count down reality TV's most talked about moments with Amanda Bella. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bella Talks TV. This is Amanda Bella, and I have a great show planned for you guys today. I know it's been a couple of weeks. We have been busy in this house, and we'll catch up a little bit here in the beginning about where I've been and what I've been doing. And of course, all roads lead back to Bravo because I can't go anywhere in this country, on this planet, without having some kind of Bravo related tea come from it. So I'm excited for the show this week. I was going to try to do like a super-sized episode. I was playing around with a couple different ideas, like how am I going to come back? Like so much has happened in the last 2 weeks. Where do I even start? Like it's a top 5 countdown. If it's your first time here again, Bella Talks TV. Every week I round up a list of reality TV's most talked about moments. So I rate them, on a scale of 1 to 5, most talked about. That's just my opinion. And then I also do an OMG and an LOL moment of the week. So it was really hard to narrow it down to 5 moments in just my OMG and LOL. So I think what I kind of tried, I was like, do I do a top 10? How do I do this? But I kind of like clustered everything so that we can hopefully get through a bunch of topics. And I won't take up too much of your time, but you guys know I'm a little long-winded and I'm always trying to keep these episodes under an hour. But I get on, once I turn the mic on, it's like just a stream of consciousness. And the hardest part is always getting started. And isn't that just like such a metaphor for life? Because I'm telling you, I sit here like mentally, I'm prepared. Like I've had my list, I know what's going on already. Like this is also something that I love doing because I don't have to study for it. Like I don't have to try. I don't have to it just is naturally stuff that I'm already going to know about and things I'm already going to care about and have the background knowledge on. So for me, it's more about just getting on here, having the space to talk about what's going on. I mean, it's not really, my point really here is not really to be spilling tea or necessarily doing some of these, I don't know, I have stories, specifically, I mean, it's not even to me, it's not really that hot of a story, which is why I'm not really telling it, but about Bronwyn from Salt Lake City. I have debated over the weekend, it's not really my story to tell sometimes. And even though it's a little bit juicy and people, I know how the Bravo fandom and the fan base is, they're rabid to sink their teeth into anything juicy about any of these people that might have happened in their past that they're not bringing up on camera and whatever. So just want to say and then also when you do bring it up, 50% of people are still going to be okay with it, justify it, or be like, oh, that's not that bad. So it's well, then what did I do all of this tea spilling for? So at the end of the day, I just kind of am here to round up and talk about things that are already happening and already out in the news and not really here to be talking too much about, tree. I try to go off of vibes / a little bit of facts. Sometimes you'll see me grab my cell phone and be like, okay, wait, let me double check this and fact check myself before I just go yapping about something I don't know about. Mix of the show is a little bit of vibes, a little bit of laughs. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the topics I picked to choose about this week. So, okay, so let's get kind of right into it because we have so much. Again, I tried to organize it into little clusters and lists of things. So instead of it being specific moments this week, it might be more broader topics that I'm kind of tying a couple other topics into. Candy, also my dog, always here, always present. Can't record without her. That's what I was kind of saying earlier about how it's hard to get started. I have my list. I know what's going on. I don't really have to get ready to do the show. But what I do have to get ready is my dog. She has to be fed, ready to chill, snacked up, boned up, comfy in her bed. She needs to be here with me because it's impossible. So hopefully, again, we won't have too many, interactions and disruptions this week so we can get through this list. But I'm here in New York. I'm only going to be here for about another week or so because for the last 6 winters, well, actually, before I even came along, before I met my husband, he was wintering in Florida because, who even does that? But long story short, I've been doing this for a year. Some of you guys know me pretty well now. My husband used to work in Costa Rica. So he had many, 8-9 years without winters. And then when he moved back to the US, he pretty much was like, why would I deal with snow in like New York winters if I don't have to? So I've had the benefit of that as well. In the last 6 years, we've gone down to South Florida and kind of spent and split our time there. So that's why you'll hear me talk about Florida a lot. It's kind of like our second home. So our third home would really be Vegas. I mean, we used to have an apartment there too, but when COVID came and things happened, that was like the first place that we got rid of. But we still own property in Costa Rica. We have our place in Florida and we're here in New York, but it's about to be the holidays and stuff. So we're going to be coming back and forth from here and Florida. Speaking of Florida, again, if you're going to the Bravo Fan Fest in Miami, please let me know. Like, I mean, like I've stalked 2 people that like do not know me that I'm pretty sure. I mean, you guys, I think I learned as a young child, just to give you like a little bit of background about me, like I was one of 4 and I was raised in like a pretty like low socioeconomic background. So I think I learned to like yap and like make friends with kids so that I could get invited to things and do things because like I wasn't going to have that just like alone on my own. And so I think that's how I became like building my personality in life and being able to like talk to people and make friends so quickly. And like, it's just because I know that I just didn't have that like where I was from. So I really clung to like being able to build a life and have friends and family outside of where I was from because I needed to. It's like a defense mechanism, almost like a survival thing. Like I just yap, like I yap to save my life. And I just talk. And sometimes it's like, it just comes out because it's almost like me just trying to like make myself feel comfortable and like feel like I know everything that's going on. And at least I know that about myself. But so when it comes to starting the podcast and stuff, like I have no shame in my game to like reach out to other content creators, podcasters, even, Bravo celebrities. I don't really have like a total desire to be chatting it up with. I don't really do the meet and greets as much. Like I've done a few now, but I'm not really in the past wasn't like, I don't know, something about like flying too close to the sun. I'm not trying to like hang out with these Bravo celebs. A lot of people be like, oh, do you like want to be a housewife or do you trying to get like cast on these shows? It's like, absolutely not. Like I have no desire to be on television. I'm way too sensitive and I would like not be able to stand like one day. So I would Hannah Burner, like burn out and have like a psychotic break on an episode of Summer House. So it's really the last thing that I need. I have no shame in my game. I will reach out to some of these people and I won't put them on blast. But there's a few people that I've reached out that I know are going to Bravo Fan Fest and that I was like, hey, like I'm going to, like would love to meet up. And they just like leave me on red. I'm like, damn, it's so embarrassing. Or they'll respond and be like, yeah, but it's like, I'm just going to try to go and make friends and I'm going alone. Like I've gone to music festivals alone. I've traveled over by myself alone. Like these are skills in life that are important to have. I'm sure I'll make friends there, but I've been desperately trying to win tickets also. Like I have my own VIP or not. I didn't even do VIP because that was $800. I did general admission. It's a 1-day thing, Bravo Fan Fest, and it's just Saturday. And look what they just did for the Hayu or Hayu Fan Fest, where everybody went to London and there was only like 25 Bravo Labs. That's what this is going to be like. So I paid a lot of money and I'm going to this thing. Now, luckily, again, we like live down in Florida, so I'm not paying for a hotel and stuff like that. I was already going to be paying for a flight. So, but I had reached out to Bravo, Watch What Happens Live. And by the way, if like any of you guys ever are in town, want to go to Watch What Happens Live, I have the email. Like I've been to Watch What Happens Live. You just email to get tickets. They put you in like a little lottery. They let you know if you can come. So I've been emailing back and forth with the girl from Watch What Happens Live and trying to be a virtual caller. I've got offered a couple different time slots. They haven't worked out. I'm offered again this week, 2 big names. Well, 3 kind of. So this week they're like, hey, Amanda, are you interested in doing virtual caller for any of these? And I look and I'm like, Monday, Jessel. Would love to do Jessel and one of the girls from Saturday Night Live. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down to do Jessel. And then it was like Wednesday, or I think Tuesday was like a random, how there's always like random. And I don't really do like the Below Deck nights. I used to be a huge Below Deck fan. Like in the years of Kate and Honey Eyes, If you know, you know. And then even into Daisy, Colin, and Gary's love triangle. But then I've kind of like gotten burnt out on Below Deck. I haven't been watching the last 2 seasons. So I was like, I wouldn't really want to do virtual caller for that night, but like I will if I have to. And then the Holy Grail, the skies opened up and Countess Luann was the option for Wednesday. She is going to be on with Stacy from Potomac. And I was like, please, girl, like I'm a huge Luann fan. Like I would love to be the virtual caller. And then I would also love for you guys to give me away tickets. Because you know they've been doing that. If you've been watching Watch What Happens Live, they've been giving the virtual callers tickets to the tapings in Miami. Because right now I only have tickets to the Watch What Happens or to the Fan Fest. I do not have Watch What Happens Live tickets because last year at BravoCon they were like giving them away, and to buy them they're over $100 worth of fees per taping, and there's 5 tapings. So I'm like, let me just try to get some free tickets to Watch What Happens Live at least. So I still don't know if I've gotten selected yet because they don't let you know until like the day of. But fingers crossed, you guys, that I am going to be the virtual caller with Luann. I'm manifesting it, putting it out into the universe right now. Please. That would be the best case scenario. And then hopefully I'll win tickets to the tapings. And that will be a complete full circle moment. Fingers crossed. If not, still going to the Fan Fest. I'm still working on my Bronwyn costume. Maybe I'll just show you guys like what I'm thinking because why not? We're already 12 minutes in, so there's no way I'm going to keep this under an hour. Okay, so let me just show you what I'm thinking as far as my Bronwyn costume. I'm going to be so mad if someone else is dressed up like her, but I've also told like 1,000 people I'm doing this. Someone is bound to copy me. Okay, I couldn't find the exact jacket that she had, but this is the jacket from Shein. Don't judge me. I'm not spending more than $100 on this costume. Like, I'm going to wear it for 3 hours. Okay, so, I mean, maybe I'll reuse this puffy jacket. I'm going to use this jacket for the Bronwyn jacket. And then I'm going to use these shoes because, again, a yellow leopard print is like not easy to find in a winter boot. So I was only able to find these like cute little, plus I am going to be walking and standing the entire day, walking around this convention. And I learned last year, which that's why I'm wearing my Send It to Daryl sweatshirt today, because we are going to be talking about Lala today. Wearing my Send It to Daryl hoodie today that I got at BravoCon in Vegas because it's just a good merch day. And I'm thinking about Bravo Fan Fest and just, wearing this stuff. But when I wore this sweatshirt, I did like the Lala look from Watch What Happens Live when she did the hoodie with like the booties that are like the Kim K sock booty heel booties that are like the leggings. So I did that look and like by the first panel, I was walking around like a baby deer, like on ice. Like I couldn't walk anymore. My legs or my feet were bleeding. It was day 3 of the convention. So I learned my lesson. So this time I'm going to wear, cute little booties. So it's not like perfect leopard matching. Like it's going to have to hopefully be pulled all off together. And then for the actual outfit that I'm wearing underneath that, the closest thing that I was able to find was this little Amazon matching set, which is technically a bathing suit, but I'm getting it 2 sizes too big for me so that hopefully it will be more of like a not so tight. So I'm going to wear this with the puffer, with the little booties, and just wear my hair in like a slick back bun because obviously I'm not brunette. But how cute will that be, you guys? In Miami too. I mean, it's a little embarrassing to like be like this, but this is who I am. So I'm going to just live out loud. And then hopefully get some really cute pictures. And I think she's going to be there. So it'd be fun to meet Bronwyn. And that's a big reason why I didn't release the tea that I heard about her. Because if I meet her, I don't want her to be like, fuck this bitch for talking shit about me on TikTok. Which again, go check out my TikTok. I'm going to be I've been nervous to like tell anybody like who's going to steal my intellectual property, I guess. Like, and these might even already exist out there because, I'm not like on TikTok that much yet. But I have decided I'm going to do, especially when I get to Florida, because when I get down there, I'm going to really need to like amp up my content and have some other things to be doing besides the podcast. And I want to do a TikTok series where I deep dive Bravo celebrities. So I want to start doing a series where hopefully I can get as much information as possible about each, star Bravo celebrity. Maybe I'll start with like a list of 20 that I can do. And then get as much information about them before they were on TV, and then kind of also talk about their trajectory since they've been on TV and do like some little deep dives. I think people will enjoy that. And I'm trying to find like a niche on TikTok somewhere where I can do this. I've really enjoyed learning how to green screen and just talking shit and putting someone's picture up behind me and being like, yo, can you believe this? So I'm enjoying TikTok. But yeah, okay, so let's get into the show. I know I said I was going to get right into it. We're only 15 minutes. Not too bad. It's a pretty good intro, solid intro. Okay, so let's start the note on like a negative, the show on like a little bit of a negative thing. Give the bad news first and then give the good news afterwards. My OMG of the week, of the month, basically, because it is Domestic Violence Month and Awareness Month. And that is a cause that is very near and dear to me. I am a survivor of domestic violence. I luckily am somebody who I think why I hate characters like Shannon and some of these people that are like that victim mentality. I realize like that's not fair for me to be like, oh, why can't you be as strong as me? And like, why can't you heal as much as me? And like, this is what you should act like. I have had time is on my side because, well, I was just to give you like, and if you don't trigger warning, if you don't want to hear my story about this, you can fast forward to my LOL of the week, but I think it's important for you guys to get to know me as a person and why some of these things trigger me too. And these passions that I have, when it comes to some of these characters and representation on our reality TV shows. So I first was domestically abused in 2014 or so. Now it's going on a decade basically of when I first experienced like what it was like to be part of this like club. And, I had an awful ex that had substance abuse issues and would basically just like not allow me to be myself. And when I did, I would, he would retaliate and it was just a really toxic relationship. But I was able to, with the strength of my friends and my family and myself, and honestly, I have to credit a lot to yoga, my career, throwing myself into that. Like I had a lot of different avenues I was able to throw myself into, learning to meditate, which is why I became a yoga teacher. Like all of these things really helped me like getting over that phase in my life, which, it's not a phase, it's like a scar that you wear forever. But that's why I was so triggered and so upset to see the video released of Shahs of Sunset star, which I say star because I really hate this guy so much. I don't even want to say that he's a star. Mike Shouhed. And if you guys remember, like if you are a Shahs of Sunset person, like, I mean, this isn't like that niche of a thing because they did have 10 or 11 seasons, I think. Like this was a huge show on Bravo and really took up a lot of our psyche and our energy for many years. Reza, MJ, Gigi, Mike, Shervin, even Tommy coming in, Adam when he got married to Reza. We had Asa, who was married to Jermaine Jackson. We have Jermaine Jackson Jr. This was like an extensive cast and there was a lot. We had Bobby and Asifa, who was also a very toxic relationship. We had Lily Gleager with the lashes. Like this, I knew everything about this crew. Like the Shahs of Sunset meant a lot to me. And we are always talking about how we need representation on our screens. Like we don't want to just have white people. We don't want to just have white housewives. We want to have, and this was really important to have Persians that are Muslims and Jews. And this was a very important show showing culture. And, unfortunately it went left. And a lot of it went left around the time that Mike Shouhed and Paulina. So Mike was actually married. He was a main character again of Shahs of Sunset. And he was always a douchebag. He was always talking down to the women. He was always just cycling through things, just being misogynistic. Like he was always, and he was kind of like his brothers are both doctors, I think. And like, he was like the black sheep of his family. But he would just always get away with stuff. And I just hate men like that. I hate anybody like that, but I hate awful people that think that they have riz and they can just like charm their way out of situations or pay their way out of situations. Like, trash. Very Diddy-like behavior, right? So when Diddy and Cassie, when that video got released, I never watched it. Personally, when I see a trigger warning, I know better not to watch. I know I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. A still photo, okay, fine. But I don't want to watch a video. But there was something about this Mike Shouhed one where it's like when it came to Diddy, like I was never like a Diddy fan or whatever. Like, I don't know. Mike, like reality TV, you feel like these people are like your brothers. I've talked about my parasocial relationship with Jax Taylor being one of my brothers. Like, I just felt that way kind of about the guys on Shahs. And like, I just was like, I want to see what this did. I actually wanted to see what he did to her because so many people were quick to say that Paulina had it coming, that she had like a mouth on her. Like, this is rhetoric that really floats around DV abusers and survivors. This idea that like we must have done something, or like, you know, that it goes both ways and stuff. Disgusting. And so I just feel like I just needed to see it for my own eyes, almost to be like, to sever the tie, for me to know that like, if this show reappears, if this man, like, I just needed to know. I needed to know. So I watched it. I watched a 2.5 minute video of Mike coming up to Paulina. I won't tell you guys, but just obviously, I mean, these are in the nursery. She has children, you know. I wouldn't say it's a nursery, but the children's rooms, I think her children are toddlers. We saw Mike co-parenting and being excited to be a stepdad now I see these videos of him like essentially choking her and doing other things to her in the children's room. And also it looks like in like a storage room or a closet or like an office room that they have too. I mean, there's stuff everywhere. You can tell that they've been fighting. She's throwing stuff out the windows. Like, I mean, it is a really disturbing video. And to see Mike in that light, like, it's like one thing to imagine it and to know that he's like that, but like there is evil in this world that walks amongst us. And that is like a perfect example of it. So I wanted to expose him. I wanted to remind everybody that talks about that show in a certain way. If you ever recap it or discuss it or decide to do a rewatch, I believe all episodes are on Netflix and on Peacock, maybe. If you decide to go down a deep dive and watch that show, like, just know who you're working with that. When he was married to Jessica, he got married to a girl in like one of the couple of first seasons that converted to Judaism for him and was a really big storyline. And then he cheated on her within like 6 months of marriage. So like, we already knew he was a piece of shit. She divorced him. That's when he dated Paulina. So, you know, it's a lot, but we talk about a lot of subjects on here. And I just wanted to talk about that because that was my OMG. Like, I couldn't believe I watched that. And then I couldn't believe I like kind of the way I felt afterwards was just angry and disgusted. And it really just made me remember that like, we really give a platform to a lot of people that don't deserve it and people that abuse it, literally. And we need to be more careful about the men that we're choosing to put on these shows and emulate as these gods. Okay, so that was it. That was my OMG moment of the week. Again, sorry for the triggers. Sorry for the negativity in the top of the show, but like, that just meant a lot to me. And the reason why that's back in the news is because even though it happened 2 years ago, it was just unsealed. Like, the video wasn't unsealed to the public or was able to be like, you know, I think it was presented in the case as evidence that they had in the court case and pressing charges and all this stuff. So it's now been released to the public and it's circulating again, and it's just not good. So prayers for Paulina. Now let's move into something funny. Let's totally switch gears here and let's have some laws together because that's what the show is all about. And I want to talk about House of Villains again, which I believe was my LOL last time too. I mean, it's a hard place to find to like put this show into the countdown because there are so many other things that are like more talked about than the House of Villains right now. That's kind of a very low level, you know, thing that's going on in the zeitgeist of reality TV right now. But I still think it's important to talk about because it is a show where we're bringing all of these iconic reality TV shows together, kind of like the GOAT. Like, the GOAT really got no play. I mean, Reza was on there. Like, there were tech from the real world was on there. I mean, I love these shows that put all of these like high profile reality TV stars together. So House of Villains is no different. And I was curious to watch Teresa again in this atmosphere without her minions, Jen, Jackie, all these people, Dolores even I would put there. Ugh, I just can't with her. I think Dolores, controversially, is probably one of the worst people in real life. I think that she probably secretly has some very, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, allegedly. So yeah, but I'm enjoying Teresa so far. I'm giving her a chance in this new atmosphere on House of Villains. This week, I mean, I got my satisfying moment. I got that moment that I just laughed, and then I rewinded and I watched it again. And then I know it's a good clip, and I take my phone out and I'm like videoing it on the iPad to like save it in my phone because I think it's so funny. And so on this latest, or not the latest episode, because now another one has came out, which we'll talk about that, I guess, while we're here. I'm not happy about it. But Teresa, it's the first challenge. They have the first, redemption challenge, and all of this stuff goes on. And Candy wins. And Larissa from 90 Day Fiancé is clearly becoming the one that's going to be the target to get voted out. It's between her and Victoria, Bachelor in Paradise. Victoria and Larissa are fighting a lot. And this is just giving Teresa a chance to just sit back. Like, she's not involved in the drama. It's great. Same with New York. They're like, great. Other bitches are fighting so that we don't have to have camera time and we don't have to bring drama. And Teresa's like, you know what I'm going to do for everyone tonight? I'm going to cook. I'm going to cook everybody like one of my favorite meals. And like, we're just going to have this family dinner. And so she cooks and everybody is served and they sit down. And Teresa's like, oh yeah, this is, it's such an easy meal. You just put it in the oven. It couldn't be easier to make. Like, I love making this for my daughters. And everyone is sitting there and they're taking a bite, but they're like letting it just sit in their mouth. And they're kind of just, and the food's in their mouth, but they're not chewing. And they're just, yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Like, is the food, did she prank them? Like, is something going on here? And then it cuts to everybody in their confessionals. And they're one after the other. Each villain is like, this tastes like shit. I have no idea what meal this is. There's no way this lady has cookbooks. I cannot believe I'm eating this. This is a salt bomb. This is disgusting. I cannot believe she cooks. This is insane. And it just felt so good. It felt so good because that would never happen on Housewives. Not to take stock in happiness and Teresa's, not to be a hater, but I am one. And I just felt so vindicated. And so like in that moment, like, yes, no one is kissing her ass. No one gives a fuck that her food tastes disgusting. And Jesse specifically like does not even eat any of it. And then I think it's Richard Hatch is like, wait, or Safari or somebody calls him out and is like, Peck, why aren't you eating your food? Like, it's so good. Take a bite. Don't just push it on your plate. And Teresa goes, I can handle it. You can tell me like what, you don't like it? Like, you can tell me what's wrong with it. And he's like, yeah, it's a salt bomb. And she gets in her confessional and she goes, fuck him. You can tell she's pissed. And if we know one thing about Teresa, in the moment, she's going to laugh it off and she's going to act like she didn't hear anything. But she's not going to play this out on the show. You're not going to see Teresa like come for him. You're not going to see Teresa like get everybody against him. She called Louis and said, you need to get Bo Dietl on Spectacular. Find everything out about this man. And let's just wait 6 months from now. Let's just see where this man is at. I think that she is the one that has, they had that blind that was like this East Coast New Jersey housewife has a close relationship with like the mob boss. And everybody thought it was Brynn. And then everybody thought it was Melissa Gorga. I think it's Teresa. I think Teresa has real ties. And that's why she doesn't give a fuck, because she knows that whoever she has ties with will literally bury somebody in concrete, allegedly. So yeah, I loved that moment. I was dying laughing. I thought that was so funny that nobody cared there. And then I got really upset the next episode when they brought Larsa in. Larsa is one of my least favorite housewives of all time. And the fact that they think they have a little friendship, which was actually really funny, because when Larsa came in, Teresa was like, Larissa, and she said the wrong name. And it was perfect because Larsa was like, it's Larsa, honey. Yeah, they're really good friends. So, okay. That was my LOL moment of the week. A quick little thing just on top of that. Teresa was at a panel that she spoke at as a keynote speaker for some kind of event that was going on in Jersey somewhere. And they asked her a question about the future, I guess, of what's going on, maybe for business plans or what her next move is. I mean, potentially she's not coming back. Like, we're going to talk about Roan J rumors later. But if Teresa doesn't come back to Jersey, like, what is next for her? And she said that she's going to open a restaurant with Gia. So with that being said, with the latest comments about her food on House of Villains, okay. And I just don't like Gia. I don't want any more Gia. Okay. So yeah, my OMG and LOL moments of the week. So random. So many things going on. Like, would you eat at a restaurant that Gia and Teresa opened up? let's put in the comments what you think the name will be. What will the name be of this restaurant? I'm like, Teresa, Tree Fab. I don't know. We're going to have to see here. We're going to have to wait and see. So yeah, let's take a little break here and then we'll get into my top 5 countdown of the week. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Bella Talks TV. We're jumping now into my top 5 countdown, reality TV's most talked about moments of the week. So got a good little list here of stuff going on. Again, I'm going to be kind of skipping around from the last 2 weeks or so because a lot has happened and I want to make sure that I get all these opinions out and hopefully you guys will agree with some of them. Maybe you'll disagree a little bit. Let me know. And if I can at least get you to maybe think about a different perspective or consider that, there's a reason behind something that someone did something, then my job and my work here is done. So we're going to start number 5 with a very, very controversial topic that is not easy for a lot of people to talk about, but I feel somewhat qualified. So let's talk about Tamara saying that she's on the spectrum. Because again, if you guys don't know, I studied psychology in college. I do have a bachelor's in psychology. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I do not have a master's in any type of therapeutic or cognitive, I have very low level base education. However, I have some awareness about this because I also have a family member that's on the spectrum, my brother Sam. And I have been very involved in his diagnosis process and his daily living habits. And, I want to start at the top of this saying that it's called a spectrum for a reason. It is a spectrum in the sense that there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of gray area and there's a lot of layers and no 2 cases are truly the same, which is why things like sexuality are on a spectrum, right? Everybody's sexuality is their own journey. Everybody's religion and faith is a spectrum. That is their own journey to decide how much they believe in something and how much they don't and what they feel about it. Other things that are on a spectrum, intelligence. Intelligence is something that is on a spectrum that everybody has their own level of based on life experience, education, nature versus nurture, all kinds of different things. So you can see that it is not so easy in life to just say right, wrong, yes, no, this is true, this is false. It's not how it works. So the sooner that you're willing to accept that in life and that everybody is just having their own human experience, soul experience, whatever people want to call it, the sooner you're going to be able to live in peace because you're going to understand that what people do, what people think, it's their life and it doesn't really affect you unless you let it affect you or choose to get involved or try to change somebody. Or you try to change somebody to fit into what you think that they should be, the more miserable you're going to be. So learning to flow with how life is filled with lots of different people is a very important skill. So I'll get off my soapbox about that, but just try to have an open mind when you're thinking about what Tamara said. So I'll give a little bit of background about just what I know personally and then what I think she said. So Tamara went recently, okay, first of all, when we have a toxic Bravo celebrity, everybody's in the comments like, this person needs therapy, this person needs help, like they need to go, like we're always begging for this, right? Like we want this to happen. One of the biggest complaints people have with Jax is that he every season would be like, I'm a work in progress. Same with Carl, right? I'm a work in progress. I'm Carl 2.0. Like I'm the new version, but they were never going to therapy. So it was just like words and then saying that they changed, which was not enough and not satisfactory for all of us to like accept. Now, Tamara realized this and was like, okay, I've been an asshole this year. I'm getting the feedback. I'm seeing it. I'm probably getting it from the network also. I'm sure my bosses aren't happy. Let me go to therapy. Let me try to do some work. But no, everyone's not happy with that because then as soon as she goes to therapy and her therapist tells her, hey, it looks like you're having some signs and symptoms of some of these traits of people that are on the autism spectrum. That is a very generalized, totally plausible, and I think true statement. She does exhibit some characteristics. I exhibit some characteristics at times. Everybody, I think, at some time, maybe shows some characteristics because, again, it is a spectrum. And I don't think there's a such thing as anyone being 0% on the spectrum. We all say things that we probably put our foot in our mouth. We all say things that are insensitive. Sometimes we don't have the amount of empathy that we need to have towards certain things. Look within. So with that being said, I do think, we all wanted to also blame the therapist. Like, the therapist is an idiot for telling. No, she's not. I think that there was just some truth to this. And again, the only problem in the part that I will criticize is that Tamara told us. She should have just said, hey, I'm going to therapy and I'm learning some new things about myself that are very hard truths, but I'm going to continue to do the work and I'm going to report back when I have more information. Done. Tamara was in my DMs yesterday. I don't usually go back and forth with the Bravo Lab. I sent her a message of support yesterday, because I do feel empathetic towards what she's going through, because I, again, will get to my brother. And she responded and she said, actually, let's look. Just a very short little message and I was shocked to see that she did reply. She's here again. Okay, great. But here she is again, my friend. I love her. I said to her, okay, I replied to the story, which was Reality T posted. Opinion, the RHOC Tamara Judge hate train has gone too far. This is by Daniel Falconer. So this article was put on reality TV and I reposted it and I said, don't listen to the haters, Tam. Energy, I learned this from a TikTok. This is inside my brain right now. Welcome to Bella Talks TV. I watched a TikTok yesterday of Brittany Wisniewski, who is Brittany from Love is Blind, who was Brittany and Leo, the art dealer, Brittany the blonde, that was with the baby voice. I love her. So she posted a TikTok that was like, energy can neither be, she was looking down into the camera. I love those TikToks. She's like, energy can neither be, let me see if I can do her impression. Energy can neither be destroyed or created. So all of the hate that I'm getting, no, I'm bad at impressions. So she's like, so all of this hate that I'm getting, I'm choosing to harness it and manifest it into my own power that I'm going to use for a greater good. And I'm not going to let any of the hate that I'm getting, in any way bog me down. It's only going to fuel me to the stars. And I was definitely feeling that for a moment. I was like, yeah, Brittany, you tell them, girl, you let the world know that you don't care what they think, because you're right. That is a main key in life. Truly being a little bit delusional and not caring what people think, not doing harm to others, and not using, that's an example of using that power for evil. The power of confidence for good would be truly being able to just ride through life and not spend time having anxiety about what other people are thinking about you creating your art, or you creating your content, or you saying your opinions. These are important things in life for you to be able to express yourself. So I told Tam, in the words of Brittany Wisniewski, that energy cannot be destroyed. So all of the hate coming to you can be harnessed and used for your benefit if you can use it and not let it control you, with the strong arm emojis. She replied, thank you. It's been tough for sure. Then I replied, yes, but you are the strongest. And I know you've got this. And I said, I was crying when you posted that clip of Miley Cyrus after the reunion, a perfect example of you reminding everybody to sit down and watch the show. If you guys don't remember, after the reunion was taped, in her stories the next morning, she posted that video of Miley Cyrus. I'm going to have to find it now. And she walks out on stage and she's like, they tried to kill me. She's like, those bitches tried to kill me. And she's like, but they were unsuccessful or whatever. I have to find it now. I'm sorry. Tamara posting that the day after the reunion That's iconic behavior. So I loved it. Oh yeah. So back to the DM. So I messaged her and I told her like, that was fucking iconic. She replied with two of the little smiling, laughing. She goes, I'm getting stronger, but this has been the worst season of hate. And I didn't even do anything that bad, with her palm face emoji. I agree, you guys. She really didn't do anything that bad. I posted again a really unhinged story where I was like, she hasn't done anything worse that was done on Jersey. And I like put in parentheses like things that have gone on in Jersey. And then I was like, and she didn't do anything worse that happened in Dallas, like getting drunk. Like, do you guys remember Brandy Redmond going to the set of Dallas? Remember the show Dallas with J.R. Ewing? The set of Dallas, and they like stayed there on a cast trip, and then she got wasted and put an entire jar of salsa in one of the beds. This is like a historical landmark. Then the entire season got canceled after that. Like, if you think Tamra's any worse than Brandy Redmond posted the day that she voted. This like she did early voting in Texas. She's a huge MAGA person. She posted and she put the sticker and she was in her car and she was like, just voted. And it said, Jesus and Trump are king. Okay, so you guys want to talk about Tamra being like the worst housewife we've ever had? Please don't get me started with Kelly Dodd again. I will go off. And Gretchen. Okay, we've had enough. So Tamara hasn't done anything that's that bad. I'm with everybody. Stand down and put down your pitchforks. Okay, so that was my number 5 most talked about moment of the week, the month, the season. And I can't wait for the reunion. And I think that OC, as much as I've been talking shit about like hating it, it's obviously kept me engaged and like has been a fun season. I'm glad that I'm sticking with my Tam. I'm not abandoning her, but it has been rough to ride for her. And I really do now think I know what it feels like to be a Teresa fan, because you have people constantly trying to convince you like what a piece of shit she is. And you're just like, I refuse to see it. I have blinders on. Okay, so that was my number 5 again. Moving on to my number 4 most talked about moment of the week is, okay, yeah, I wanted to make sure I mixed it up a little bit because, of course, like I talked about Shahs a little bit, which is Bravo, but not Housewives. I talked a little bit about House of Villains. We talked a little bit about Tamara and Rosie. And now I want to move it over to Salt Lake City. And let's talk about what's been going on with our Mormon wives, because a lot of things have been popping off, and including a new baby that was just born yesterday. So my number 4 most talked about moment of the week are all of the things that have happened in the Mormon wives community since they re-signed their contracts. So we know that season 2 has been announced. The ladies are back and they are filming according to some sources, but part of me has me wondering if that is true or not. So we know for sure it's back. Hulu made the announcement itself. Mormon wives are coming back. They signed a 20-episode deal. So we don't know if that's going to be next season's going to be 20 episodes or if it's going to be 2 10-episode seasons split up. But we do know that there are 20 episodes coming. And we know that everyone is coming back, I believe. I think that was confirmed. I mean, if I'm fake newsing, then I'm sorry. But I think everyone is coming back. Macy, Jesse, Layla, Demi, Taylor, Frankie, Paul, Whitney. I think I said Michaela, but she gets mentioned twice because she's my little ghost girl. And, I think I'm here for it. And Jen Affleck, of course. So these are the things that have been going on. At Dancing with the Stars, Jen was there with Zach in the audience. And that basically confirmed, because what we had been seeing online, I think in one of my recent episodes, I talked about the rumors that maybe Jen, or I definitely did a TikTok about it, about how Jen was seen without her ring. And then it looked like they moved, and then they weren't sure what was going on with Zach's school and when he was going. So there were just a lot of rumors flying about whether or not Zach and Jen were actually maybe going to get divorced. And everybody's like, no way, impossible. I have to say, a lot of these girls are divorced. Demi is divorced. Jesse is divorced. Layla is divorced. Taylor is divorced. Why wouldn't Jen get divorced? I was like, yeah, I actually believe that this girl could totally get divorced. She's making her own money. She's a breadwinner. Her mom lives with them, you guys, which is something I read online that they tried to keep off of the show, is revealing that Jen's mom actually lives with them. So that's another reason why I think that they're like more of a family unit that we're thinking, because then she works with the dad and they're all very entangled. So those were rumors that were flying. And then there were also rumors that Taylor and Dakota had broken up in the midst of season 2 filming. And, you know, Taylor was doing these TikToks and then they got called out for clickbaiting. And I saw a lot of people getting pissed in the fandom being like, okay, we know that this is you guys' first reality TV show, but like you can't go in on the off season and just like make up fake storylines to like you can't really like do that. I mean, I guess they could, like what are the rules? But people were getting really pissed that they were acting like they were all getting divorced. And then we were going to come back to the show to find out that they were really all just like teasing in the off season. So then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Dakota's on Taylor's Facebook or Taylor's Instagram again, being like, hey, we're back together. Yeah, oops. Like, okay. So now they're announcing they're back together. And then in the Dancing with the Stars, the night that Phaedra was eliminated, they pan to the audience and Jen and Zach are there. And it's like, why? Like, how freaking random? But I have a little theory that they did that because Hulu owns ABC or ABC Hulu. It's all the same thing. And so they're connected, Dancing with the Stars and Mormon Wives. And I think when all this stuff started happening with Jen, like, and they found out that Jen was just teasing and like doing fake TikToks, acting like they were divorced, I think the producers were pissed and they were like, oh, no. Like, we're not going to do this because everyone's going to be so fucking pissed when this show airs and it's not like what they were expecting. So we need you to basically all announce that you guys are all still together. Well, how was Jen and Zach going to do that? Well, I think they had this bright idea that, hey, we'll have you guys be in the audience in Dancing with the Stars because that will also get like us clout. And then it will kind of tie it all in together. We're all like sister companies. So yeah, I think that they flew Jen and Zach to California to go do that. And maybe they also did like some content or some behind the scenes interviews or something, or some, you know, maybe they were doing something for the show, but I think that was definitely planned. It wasn't just like, oh, they're randomly there together. So I think there was like part of me that thought maybe Jen wasn't going to film this new season and that she was going to have quit and like moved with Zach to go to medical school or wherever he was going and whatever he was doing. Oops, hold on, because my dog is about to candy. Okay, she was wrapped up in the mic cord. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really think that was like, I was like, that cannot be random. So yeah, so I think they're all back together. I think they're all back filming. And I'm curious because obviously if they're all coming back, are they nervous that they're not going to have enough drama because they are all with their men still and they maybe are just like happy or at least pretending to be? Or maybe they've gotten that whole thing of like, oh my God, we showed way too much in the first season. And now they're all trying to like come up with fake storylines for season 2. Oh my God. No, we cannot let this happen. We cannot let this happen. Like, have we as a society just like outgrown reality TV where everyone just brings like fake storylines on now? Like, I can't do it. Can't do it. So, okay. That was my number 4 most talked about moment of the week. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what other rumors were going on with Mormon Wives. Oh, Whitney had her baby. So yesterday, Whitney had her baby. She was waiting to find out the gender until birth. It was a little boy. She was going to name it Billy. Either way, girl or boy. I would have loved a little girl named Billie Jean. I think that would have been so cute. But it is a little boy, another Mormon man born into this world. I'm just kidding. God bless his baby, little Billie Jean. Whitney was doing TikToks in that labor bed up to the minute she gave birth. Just, she knows how to collect a check when it's time. So I hope that she gets lots of brand deals. And I think Whitney's going to come back and she's going to have her soft LALA'S season. Being a newborn mom and all this stuff, I think that she's going to actually end up getting like a better edit this year. So that's my prediction. So yeah, that was my number 4 most talked about moment of the week, Mormon Wives. So let's move over to number 3, jumping right into Roni. We have got to talk about all the stuff that's been going on with Brynn because she has had quite the fall from grace this season. I believe we're 6 episodes into the new season of Roni and it's not looking good for her. So she's made some grave mistakes and I have to be honest. I'm going to be very honest with you guys because that's the only way I know how to be. So I'm going to tell you where I disagree with her, but also where I kind of see where she is coming from. And hopefully you guys will not cancel me. Not that I have to be like active to be canceled, but hopefully you guys will understand my perspective. I'm going to try to like play a little bit of devil's advocate, but I don't know if people are going to like what I have to say. So, okay, so this is the issue that's going on with our friend Brynn. Now, Brynn is a mixed race woman who is half black and half white. She is from Indiana. She was raised by her white grandma, but her father is black. And she's talked about this on last season. She's gone through her identity struggles and her crises. And so from what I think, what I'm gathering and what I'm psychoanalyzing is that she is just projecting. And she's also, I think, definitely internalized microaggression, misogyny that she is expressing here and projecting onto UbaH. I see it. She doesn't get a pass just because we're like, okay, her trauma from having gender PTSD basically does not allow her to tell others how to deal with their trauma from their race. I think I said gender earlier. I meant to say race PTSD. So the real issue here is that they're in the Hamptons and UbaH and Brynn have not been getting along since last season's finale because UbaH was dating a man that lived in Connecticut that is now public with her. His name is Oliver, works in finance. I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5". This is him. He's the man in finance. So UbaH wanted to keep this off camera. And that right there is, again, an issue for me. So I think Brynn, while, again, very Tamara-like, delivery is really wrong here, really messy, should have, like 1,000 other ways you could have done this, by maybe sitting down with her in a one-on-one conversation, by maybe saying something to her off camera. Like, there were just lots of other ways that she could have went upon this. But Brynn panicked last year because it was the season finale and she knew, okay, we need to make something happen at this reunion party, or at this, I keep calling it the reunion. It was the finale party. We need to make something happen at this finale party. It's the end of our first season as a group. And like, UbaH's not even talking about the fact that she's dating a man that lives in Connecticut. And so Brynn decided to be a little bone collector and reveal on camera, UbaH, why don't you talk about your man in Connecticut? Okay, clearly she was drinking too much. It was a lot. It was a mess. But do I think UbaH should have been bringing her real life onto the show if she wanted to make the show successful? Yes, I do. So I think both of them are wrong and both of them are right in that case. Now, the thing is that the feud now has gone into this new season, but cannot let go that Brynn did this last season, right? She's still mad. Now, I'm going to blame two people for this. I'm going to blame UbaH herself because, girl, you got to get over it. It's really not that big of a deal. You went public with him. He wasn't like married. I don't know what you were hiding anyway. Like, it's time to move forward. Number two, I'm going to blame the producers on this because the producers should have also been telling her this. Like, hey, if we're going to give you an apple, which she was promoted from friend to housewife this season. Hey, if you're going to be getting paid and being a full-time cast member, like Oliver's not only going to be spoke about, he's going to need to film. So I think that they were like kissing her ass so much. And I think this has a lot to do with her being Chanel Ayan's cousin. I have like a whole thing too about like Chanel Ayan right now. Like I also like, she's giving me the ick. I have the ick for her. So there's something about these two that are they seem both like the type that if they were to be let go, that they would like play the race card. And okay, I'm sorry I said it out loud, but that's just like what I think that they would go on some kind of like reality. They would join Reality Reckoning with Bethany and try to be like, yeah, we weren't asked back, or we were like singled out for being like, I just believe it. I'm sorry. They give like that Karen behavior. And if we can call white girls Karen, like why can't we say that they kind of act like Karens? Like UbaH's acting like a Karen this season, where she's like not getting her way about her edit and all this stuff, and she's acting like this. I think that's how Chanel is as well. So, okay. That was my gripe with that. Now, again, I'm sorry if I said some things there that you guys don't agree with, but that is just my gut emotion about this. Now, with that being said, let's talk about where Brynn is wrong here, because Brynn is totally, like I said, I think that I'm going to generalize and I'm going to judge just a little bit here, that she is going on 40. And I think that she has dealt with a lot of insecurities. Again, daddy issues mixed with having some PTSD with probably being bullied and dealing with her biracial upbringing. I think that she unintentionally or subconsciously repressed her African American side and embraced her Caucasian side more often because she lived in Indiana. And since I'm also from the Midwest, I understand that there were no 100% Black people in my school growing up. There was one family of also mixed race like Brynn that were half Black, half white. So in my elementary school, and I was actually really good friends with them. They lived on the same block as me. And the dad, who was the Black father, and the mother, who was white in that family, the dad went on to become the mayor of my hometown. So I love that family. But I just want to say, I think that she didn't know that she was doing it, but like, hey, hindsight's 2020, and like, you're watching yourself on TV now. I hope that she's been able to grow and see that, like, yeah, she's definitely being micro, like she's acting like she's telling UbaH to like not act so Black, which I can't even, like, I'm really trying not to here, but she's trying to tell her not to act so, because I think that she told herself that growing up so that she could fit in better. And it's clear that she's projecting. And the one place again here that I will say, it doesn't excuse it, but I just see why she's acting like that. She's also very, very aware of the cameras. Brynn has been aware of the cameras since the second she got hired. This is a problem that I have with, I think, housewives that get cast that are not married and don't have kids, because their storyline is going to only be what the other women are doing. So they have to be that pawn and that character that is the bone collector and the messy one, and the basically sacrifices herself because she doesn't have a family to embarrass, or like family drama to bring up, or like secrets. Like, she's not dealing with the same stakes as somebody who has a husband and children on the show do. It's just facts. So that's why I don't like when people are like, oh, Lindsay Hubbard, or, well, I guess she's about to have a kid, but, or Paige, or whoever, like, that are going to be housewives. It's like, I don't think that Bravo celebrities that are on these other shows can just automatically be housewives, because like, they don't have the life experience and the stakes that the housewives have. A 60-year-old Karen Huger cannot be compared to a 30-year-old Paige DeSorbo. It's impossible. Just have to say that too. But with Brynn and UbaH, I think the main thing that people are really upset about is the comment that Brynn said that Oliver is not going to want to marry UbaH if she keeps being the role of the angry Black girl. And so I'm going to tread lightly here, because I don't like UbaH's behavior. So it's not because she's Black, but it is because this is why people get the stereotype. Oh God, I'm already fucking this up. I want to say, because it's not true. She is way more dynamic than that, and has way more sides, and does not approach life like that. And I do believe that she is fun. I posted a clip to my Instagram last year that I was obsessed with, which was UbaH in the spinny donut wheels on the ice in Rockefeller Plaza last year, when she was like with Aaron, I think. And she was like, woo, like spinning and just like childlike, like loving life. And I'm like, this is the UbaH that I want to see every single episode. That's just like having fun, getting into the mix, like is a little bit messy, but like can still turn it off and like doesn't take things so personally. So again, I please God, like, please you guys, I'm serious. Like, I just want to say, it doesn't help. It just doesn't help. And if I would love her, is it pandering though, if I say, like, show us though. Show us that you are more dynamic than that. I don't know. I'm trying to sit here and really think about this. I'll have to edit this down, but I'm thinking really the problem is that in an alternate universe, Brynn would sit down with UbaH and apologize. But the problem that Sai and Jenna had when they sat down at their little sit down, because remember, they were also having issues. They sat down, they had the balls to sit down and be like, hey, I talked shit and I wasn't your biggest fan last season, but like, let's bury the hatchet. And we're not getting that from Brynn and UbaH. So that is the problem, because I think that if Brynn could just do that, that would have avoided this entire situation. But you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So she's going to have to now swim upstream to get back into some kind of atmosphere where she's actually able to be somebody of, substance on this show again and not just be known as like the racist girl. I feel bad for Brynn. I was not really her biggest fan, but I didn't hate her before. But obviously now things have kind of taken a turn for the worst. So we're going to have to just see how she digs herself out of this. Now, Jessel was at the Hey You Fan Fest this weekend over in London. And she said that filming was cut short this season because on the final cast trip, 2 people had to be separated. Somebody was sent home on a plane and another person was sent to a hotel. I mean, all roads lead to the fact that Brynn and UbaH are these 2. And we also get the biggest hint, which was in the beginning of the season. Before they even do the first episode, they cut to them doing their title card photo shoot. And these 2 are still rabid for each other. So Bravo's going to have to go one of 2 ways with this. At the reunion, it's going to be just like they said at Potomac. Either you apologize here today and it's dead, or you're getting fired. Candace, she couldn't apologize and she couldn't do it. She couldn't swallow her pride. She gone. I don't really know what happened with Crystal, to be honest. I'm still gloating, but I think because she didn't sit at the reunion and kind of speak up in the right way and like own it and be able to talk shit to everyone's face at least, then they were like, okay, now you're fired. Like, I think Andy's going to be like, Brynn, UbaH, this is it. You're both gone if you don't sit here and patch it up. Because I always have to remind everybody that the reunions are for reconciliation and moving forward and apologizing. They are not for rehashing and relitigating and fueling, which is why Jersey's getting fired, because every reunion, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Okay, so that was my number 3 most talked about moment of the week, were the Jessel comments and basically what the heck's going to happen with Roni and Brynn. Girl, hire the same person that Trishelle had for the unconscious bias training. Trishelle's getting hired for things again. You will be able to maybe at least have House of Villains traders in your future if you can come to the reunion and say, look what I'm doing to grow. Just don't go the route of Tamara and just do not say you were on the spectrum. Because we saw that ended up. So, okay. Let's move on to my number 2 most talked about moment of the week, which is over in Salt Lake City. Dana Pam. I love when Dana Pam resurfaces. Dana Pam Wilkie, 25,000. 25,000. Can you believe? One of my favorite friends of. So if you guys go to Wikipedia, a little fun fact, if you ever need to Wikipedia a housewife, there's little charts that will kind of show, like if you do Salt Lake City, it will go through each season, who is a Salt Lake City housewife, who was a friend of, and they actually call them guests, which are like the floating characters that aren't even friends of. So you'll see. And Dana Pam Wilkie was just a guest of the first season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And this girl is still around and somewhat still relevant, making a name for herself in the housewives world because of her podcast. And on the latest season of Salt Lake City Housewives, one of the main through lines is Whitney Rose and her Alibaba. Does she buy her jewelry from Alibaba for $4 and then upsell it for $200 on her website? Does she do it? And she's never confirmed or denied, but a lot of the rumors have been brought up on camera now. First, it was Lisa asking Meredith if she knew. That Meredith went to Heather and said, I heard this. And then Heather told Whitney, hey, this is going around. And then that's when Whitney decided to then have Up and Adam basically be the person that's going to come onto the show and say, hey, you tell me that you heard these rumors and that you heard them from Lisa. Now, Dana Pam went on her podcast and was like, this is so bogus. This is not true because I am the one that Adam asked. Adam DM'd me and was like, hey, who did you get these rumors from? And she heard it from Heather, not from Lisa. So she's like, I love how Adam comes on screen and is like, oh yeah, it must be a person with a tequila brand, when really it was Heather that told Dana Pam and or leaked it and or sent a thing. It was Heather. So Mary this season is really calling out Heather for being a liar and leaving a trail of little things. And Mary, she's got that Jesus brain. She's got that prophecy brain. She's seeing the situation here and she's calling out Heather, and it's really, really good. Mary, like I said, it physically pains me to admit that I'm enjoying Mary, but I am. And I think that she is really coming this season and calling it like she sees it, which is with Heather. And so currently Heather and Whitney are in Australia together when all of this came out. So I'm really curious. Like, they must have obviously either planned this together from the very beginning. Like, Whitney either planned, hey, I am going to okay, there's two different routes. If Whitney created her own storyline where she actually bought something from Alibaba, sold it on Prism, took the pictures herself, made the post herself on a Finsta, sent it to Heather, but told Heather, I'm going to send you this. Then you're going to send it to Dana Pam. All of this is possibility number one. Possibility number two, Whitney is selling Alibaba stuff. A real person, or Heather herself, or one of Heather's friends, or Heather's hair girl who was involved in Reality Von Teese, who I can't remember her name now, but who was Monica's friend that was doing it with her. That girl, the hair girl. Or the hair girl discovers the Alibaba post, tells Heather. Whitney doesn't know. Heather tells Dana. Dana tells Adam. Adam tells Whitney. The producers edit it to make it look like Lisa and to also get Whitney mad to have a storyline fighting with Lisa. All because Whitney thinks there's always the motive. Whitney is a little Whitney Drew, and she's like, my motive. Their motive. The motive for Lisa was that Whitney talked shit on the Vile Files. So then to get Whitney back, Lisa did all of this. That is what she's saying. So those are the possibilities of what's really going on here. There's a new episode tonight, so we will see how this continues to unfold. When I went to the watch party, Heather, Meredith, and Lisa were together. They seemed like they were getting along pretty well. So up until the reunion, even Meredith was quoted recently saying that she might not even be that close with Lisa now. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, that was my number 2 most talked about moment of the week, is all this drama with Dana Pam, Up and Adam. What the truth is Heather behind all of this? I don't know, but I love that Mary is calling her out. And okay, so while we're on the subject, let me just spill the smallest bit of tea and you guys can put it together. What I was going to say about Bronwyn is that I heard that her daughter Gwen was put in a therapeutic boarding school. And the reason why that is so controversial is because if you guys watched seasons 1 and 2 of Paris in Love on Peacock, Paris Hilton is in a current mission of life where she is getting therapeutic boarding schools closed because they're abusive and no child should ever have to go to them. And she's doing pretty good at getting them banned and closed and getting things happen and getting things having to be disclosed, and laws are changing. So when I heard this, I was pretty upset to think that Bronwyn would send her daughter away to one of these schools, because it's not good parenting. And one of the biggest storylines on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City this season is being a bad parent and parent shaming and this whole thing. Okay. So another controversial thing this season is the fact that, bad parent shaming and all this stuff. And I know sometimes I can say some comments too about parenting. I was really hard on Brittany from Vanderpump Rules. It's not about mom shaming, but I have to say something that, again, I know is not going to probably make sense or make very many people happy, but there are bad parents out there. Okay. They exist. And I think when you admit that not everybody is a good parent, what that does is it leaves space, it holds space for people to consider whether or not they are a good parent or a bad parent, instead of operating from a place of like, okay, even if I am a bad parent, no one can call me out and I can just live in this like bubble of being a bad parent and like, let me just do my thing. Child Protective Services exists for a reason. Okay. You can be a bad parent. You can be neglectful. You can be abusive. You can be neither of those things, but still have a traumatic impact on raising your children because of choices that you make or things that you teach them or things that they're exposed to. It is a fact of life. So yes, sending your child to an abusive therapeutic boarding school is not being a good parent. So it's knowingly putting your child in harm's way. And I don't understand why it's like so controversial to tell people. So that's just my rant number one. My rant number two about this is that there's all these different conversations that are going on in Salt Lake City. One, if Mary Cosby was a more present mother, was more paying attention to Robert Cosby, all of these things, was not just enabling, would he be addicted to fentanyl and be having DWIs and being in rehab? If Lisa Barlow was not so busy with her career and things, would little Henry be playing video games till 2 a.m? If Electra is being exposed to the fact that her father had rumors spread about him, but being gay on national television, is Angie K a bad mom because she's putting her daughter on television? It's like there's all of these different arguments, right, that are going to come in. And not every decision, way things are handled, things that are going on are good and are positive. But the fact is that it is authentic. And I think that is more of the story that should be told of like, hey, I messed up as a parent here. I could have done more. Hey, I'm struggling with my child who's not doing this or like that. Like, what do you guys think I should do? Like, I need help as a mom. Like, why is there so much shame around that? It should be way more of a conversation in our society of like, hey, like, I see that you're dealing with this, like from an outside perspective. Have you tried this? You know, this is what worked for my niece or nephew. Like, why can't we feel comfortable being like, hey, like your child, there's something going on. Or you as a parent, like you're really missing, like, you know, there are like standards, I think, in being a good parent. And you don't just get to say you're a good parent unless you meet the standards. So I don't know. I know that's very controversial. And like when and if I do ever have children, I know I'm going to put my foot in my mouth and be like, wow, like if anybody talks shit about me. But on the other hand, if I was being a bad parent, if I was being blind to something I wasn't seeing, if I was, you know, unaware of something, if I was really struggling, I would really expect someone to tell me. In my family, my husband, a parent of mine, my child himself, being like, hey, mom, I need you. This is messed up. Like when Jade and Jax on Beverly Hills told Garcelle, like, you're not really being that great of a mom. You're gone all the time. You barely ask us shit. When we're around, you don't like, they were being honest. And everyone was like, oh, how shame. No, I think we need more. Tell people when they're doing bad, because how can people improve? Like, how can you get better? How can you end these traumatic generational trauma cycles that end up in these families? There needs to be, the first step is admitting that there's a problem. So why don't we admit first that there are bad moms and there's bad parents, and it happens. And there's also bad kids. It happens. We got to admit it, because then it's like, yeah, I got a problem here. And I'm doing everything I can to fix it, instead of burying your head in the sand, pretending it doesn't happen, pretending people are just being haters. That's awful. So all of that has been a problem for me. So yeah, that was really my number 2 most talked about moment of the week. There's a lot going on in Salt Lake City, and there's a lot to talk about and a lot to keep our eye on there. So that was an interesting one. So let's finish. I have 2 things I want to do still, actually. So even after my top 5 countdown ends here, we're about to move into number 1. I'm still going to talk a little bit afterwards. So my number 1 most talked about moment of the week is, and a reason why I'm wearing this sweatshirt It says we have to talk about Lala's appearance on Jeff Lewis and what is going on with Vanderpump Rules. Because as you guys know, I am a huge fan. It means a lot to me. And it's all very controversial. So number one most talked about moment of the week is Lala Ken's appearance on Jeff Lewis. Let's break it down and let's talk about all of the swirling rumors that have then came afterwards. So when Lala was on Jeff Lewis recently, Jeff and Ryan Bailey, my brother in podcasting, Ryan Bailey, sat down with Lala and what seemed like tried to kind of get through to her. And they tried to break that firmament layer that is around her, that bubble that she lives in, and tried to get her to see reality here. And they first off start by asking her, like, have you ever tried to reconcile with Ariana? Are you gonna try? Like, what's going on with that? And she's very quick to be like, nope, have no interest in that. I see no future there. And then Jeff and Ryan are like, are you kidding me, Lala? Like, things are so bad. Like, you're so hurt. They're basically like laughing, but then they're kind of like smirking in a way of like, are you even kidding me that like you can still be so mad and so upset about something that really had nothing to do with you, which was the fact that she goes on to say, if everyone would have treated me with Randall the way that Ariana treated with the Tom situation, she still lived with him during the breakup. All of these things. She constantly is comparing her and Randall to Ariana and Tom when they are completely different. One, Randall owned the home. Lala had no say in it. Okay. So that's first off. If you abandon the property in, I believe, California laws, check the Bravo docket. Once you abandon the property, I believe that then there's in a court of law, should you need to fight it or whatever, if Ariana and Tom did have to go to trial over the sale of this house, it would have been brought into law that it was an abandoned property by Ariana if she left it. So she can't leave because then Tom would have been like, oh, she obviously didn't care because she left the house the day, and she never came back and I had to take care of it and I was responsible for all the bills and all these things. She needed to be present. I think it was also like that gray rocking thing too, where she was like, I'm not fucking leaving. My animals are here. My name is on the lease. I paid 50% of it. I would have done the same thing, even though going back to my relationship that I was in, I left my ex that I was living with because, and I remember the exact day. So we had signed a lease and moved in together in like September or October. And then over the winter, things had gotten really bad and he was cheating on me a lot and a lot of things were happening. It was very Steven from Love is Blind. It was not always like real cheating, but like also like a lot of virtual sexting and like weird cheating too. I consider that cheating. So if you're like FaceTiming with some girl, yeah, that's cheating. So anyways, I had caught him doing a lot of stuff and it was like, okay, but we signed a lease and like where I had nowhere to go. All of my friends, I had pretty much been isolated from at that point. Like some of them probably would have let me in like a very bad situation move in with them, but like I didn't want to have to do that. So around like March, I started being like, okay, I can't continue to live like this. Like every woman has their breaking point. And if you've been in one of these relationships, like you do wake up one day and you're like, I cannot live another day like this. So I reached my breaking point and I had a coworker that was moving and she was talking to me about how she was getting ready to move to California. We were living in Chicago. And I was like, wow, like, where's your apartment? All this stuff. She kind of was like saying, where it was and stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I know that neighborhood and how much do you pay and stuff? And I kind of started breaking it down. I'm like, I think I could afford that. So once I realized, I was like, okay, well, if your place is about to be up, like, let me come meet your landlord. So I went and met her landlord and was basically like, hey, I'm interested in moving into her apartment when she moves at the beginning of the month. And we worked out a deal. And so I paid my thing and I knew secretly, like my ex didn't know for like at least a week that like I had found a place, put a security deposit down and that I was going to move. So I kind of started getting my friends, figuring out how I was going to move, having one of my coworkers bring a truck, like was like, hey, this day at this time, like he's going to be at work, like let me know, I'm going to come move out. So Lala did the same thing. She did like thing where she had her two gays roll up with the U-Haul. She threw all of her stuff in the middle of the night and like rolled out when Randall was gone, like shooting something. Took the baby and ran. So she had just a very different situation than Ariana. Like Ariana didn't feel like Lala felt unsafe. Lala felt like something was going to happen to her. Ariana never said that she had felt like she was in any physical danger. She just felt like, yeah, he doesn't want to see my face too fucking bad. I'm not leaving my house. So she pretty much thought it was like better to stay and torture him, which I kind of agreed with, because she wasn't in some situation where she was like going to be physically harmed or like felt truly unsafe, like something would happen to her, which is how I felt. Like I made a real plan to escape because I felt like I didn't know what would happen to me if I confronted him and told him I was leaving, because that would have been worse. Where Ariana was like, he's not going to do anything to me. I'll fucking make him wait until I leave. So they are just two very different situations, Lala. So I hate that she's constantly trying to put them on the same plane. It's just, they're different worlds. The second problem that we have with this is that Lala goes on to say that, well, because Ariana and Lala don't have a future of repairing the relationship, there's no future to VPR because there's no more story to tell. Ariana and Tom aren't together anymore. Ariana and Lala aren't friends anymore. It's like there's nothing left to say. Now, Sheena went on her podcast and said, I actually disagree with Lala, which is always music to my ears. I disagree with her. There's lots more story to tell because this is a reality TV show. We're living our real lives. And as long as we're alive, there's going to be more story to tell. So Lala, you are wrong. There's more story to tell. So it's very frustrating to hear these conflicting rumors of like whether or not there's more story to tell or not. Now, I was in Las Vegas last week for the When We Were Young music festival. Sheena was there. Katie was there. Danielle Oliveira was there from Summer House. She was also staying at my hotel, and I DM'd her with her a little bit. So yeah, there were Bravo Labs. I didn't see any of them though, which was really disappointing. I was really hoping I would like run into some of them, but no, it was a good time. So I met When We Were Young, and Sheena confirmed on her podcast that Katie was there. She is dating Nick Martin. Sheena ran into Katie and they were friendly together. So I think that in the future season of Vanderpump Rules, we could actually see some scenes with Katie. Now, Sheena popped in to watch What Happens Live recently. She also said that her and Ariana are on speaking terms and they're okay. So again, that doesn't say to me, okay, there's no path forward. Now, it was recently revealed that Ariana makes more on Vanderpump Rules than Love Island, Broadway, and I think someone mentioned like her cocktail books or like some other thing that she does combined. VPR's paycheck is bigger than all of her other things combined. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I thought that Bravo Housewives capped at $500,000 a season. So is Ariana the highest paid Bravo celebrity in all Bravo history? Because they're basically, from what I heard, there's absolutely no way she's not returning because the paycheck is so good. So this leads me to believe that this next season will be the last because, again, we also know that that's not sustainable. It's like they're going to pay her a shit ton for this next season to come back. These are my predictions, you guys. Here they come. My prediction is Lala is out. She will only be on season 2 of The Valley. Coming back to VPR, we will have Ariana and Tom both, and we will get scenes of them filming together. Because I think she's so happy. She's so moved on. She's getting paid so much. I do think that now that it's healed, we're going to get it. Schwartz is living with Sandoval. The house is up for sale. Wait. I also heard Victoria Lee, who is Sandoval's girlfriend, is living with Sandoval. Jax is maybe living with Schwartz. Yeah, Jax and Schwartz are living in the same complex. Basically, what we're trying to say is Jax is going to be back in Vanderpump Rules is what I'm trying to say. Jax, Sandoval, Schwartz. It'll be kind of like Southern Charm, like the guys are the lead. Ariana will be back with Katie. Katie and Sheena, they'll be okay. Sheena will be filming with the girls. James and Allie will be back because there were also rumors that Allie and James broke up because VPR was getting canceled, and or that maybe James and Lala were both leaving the show, and then Allie consequentially will then break up with James because we all know that she doesn't love that man and she's using him for clout. So I'm thinking that is a possibility. Either just Lala is out because she burned her own bridge, or James and Lala are out. James will continue to DJ and have his career, Allie, she's out. Lala, over to the valley. Possible. Who else? Brock, of course, Messy Boots Brock, he'll be back. And then they also teased new people, which I don't love. So I'm thinking the reason why Rachel goes rogue is officially done is that she did that for two purposes: to stay relevant to Vanderpump Rules in hopes that once time passed, she would either get the offer that Ariana got, the huge astronomical paycheck to come back, or that enough time would pass that she would truly just detach, which is what happened. So she gone. She said that she's done talking about it. She's done thinking about it. She's never coming back to reality TV, and she's moving on with her life. So she's gone. My predictions, Joe is still lingering. I'm trying to think if there will be drama with anybody with Jax. Maybe we'll have a little bit of Peter back. Okay, I saw the article that said that Lisa Vanderpump, she also has been asked to basically step down from filming and that they don't want Nana Vanderpump anymore in the show, which is kind of funny and sad. I think I told you guys a few times that she's opening another restaurant in Vegas called Pinky's, and I can't wait to go there. Okay, yeah, so pretty much I think that's it for like the Lala and Jeff Lewis Vanderpump Rules rumors. Okay, so when I was at When We Were Young Festival also, I was with my best friend Alex, who I've been friends with since I was 12 years old. Now, she was like, hey, I have to fly to Beijing tomorrow. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, for work, straight from Vegas. I'm like, that's insane. So we're leaving Vegas and she's on her flight and she messages me and she's like, holy shit, you're not going to believe who's on my flight. And I'm like, who could it be? Hey, I'm like, who's going to Beijing? I'm like, I don't know. Who goes like international? Lady Gaga? No, it was Ariana and Dan. And they were sitting one row in front of her. She got a ton of pictures that she sent me. I tried to send them to TMZ. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. Nobody cares as much as me. But yeah, so the fact that Ariana right now is in Beijing, I'm wondering if this is because this is going to be like her final vacation, or if she's coming back and just doing Broadway and not taking the paycheck. I mean, like I said, these are all rumors and nothing's been confirmed. So we don't know if she's returning. I just heard that the paycheck was good and there's no way she's going to say no. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it though, but we're going to have to just wait and see truly how everything breaks down. I don't hate Lala going over to the Valley because again, I didn't gag over season 1 of the Valley like everyone else did. I didn't think it was like so good. I actually think a lot of the storylines were staged, and I think the whole thing with Brittany and Jax was staged and played out for the show. I think that that's how they got them to film it because we know Jax produced it and Jax went to Bravo and said, hey, this is like what we're going to do. So I think that that was totally planned. I think the stuff with Jesse and Michelle also was like a real divorce that happened, but like was very encouraged by the show and by Brittany and by all of this stuff. Michelle also was on like Selling Sunset a little bit and like the $1 Million Listing LA. Like this bitch wants to be on TV. So I think that the Jesse Lolly stuff, whatever. I think Kristen and Luke, are you absolutely kidding me? That is so for TV. Kristen was like, I need to be on this show and I need to have a baby. She's basically using that man for sperm and for a storyline. No, Luke is not endgame. I cannot believe they're engaged. I think they also just got engaged for the show, which is we know is going to be seen on season 2. But the main part of it all is that it was revealed that Brittany dated a guy that Lala used to hook up with. And this was also on the Jeff Lewis Live. So we know that they filmed the commercials during Jeff Lewis Live. They just let the camera roll. And they tell them, don't say anything during commercial because it could be used against you. Lala forgot that, started yapping to Ryan Bailey during commercial. Because Ryan was like asking about the Valley and basically being like, what's going on? And Lala goes on to say, well, I didn't know that Brittany had been hooking up with Julian behind my back until Jax texted me and said, hey, did you know all along that Brittany and Julian were hooking up? So we find out that Brittany and Julian had basically, I mean, whether Brittany and Jax were actually separated already, it does seem like they were, but she still didn't disclose, and she didn't have to, but she didn't disclose to Jax or Lala that she had been hooking up with Julian. Julian was somebody that Lala, apparently she considered dating him seriously, but then did a background check on him and found some dirt on him. I think maybe he had been married before, that he had hidden children, or that he was engaged at the time that he was having this affair with Brittany. So it all comes out that even Brittany didn't even ask Lala, like, hey girl, can I like hang out with this guy? Or would you mind or whatever? And that to me, again, just shows how down low and dirty Brittany is. Lala's not happy with Brittany that she kept it as a secret from her. That kind of like broke girl code. Plus, remember, they had the drama with the nanny, stealing the nanny, all of this stuff, being mad at Brittany and her mom. I see and smell a huge Brittany versus Lala feud coming, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's why I'm donning the Send It to Daryl shirt again. It's why I'm getting ready to sink my teeth into a new season of The Valley. And I'm willing to accept this new thing. If Lala's off Vanderpump and she's just on The Valley, okay, we're cooking with gas again. So yeah, that was really the number one most talked about moment of the week. All the rumors about Lala, all the things going on with Vanderpump. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. Cameras are going to be expected to be picking up soon. So we'll have to see when Lala and Dan return from China and what's happening. We're just going to have to wait and see now. There are a bunch of things I did not get to this week. So I think what I'm going to do is do a little bonus episode where I go over the trailers for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the Southern Charm trailer. I really want to talk about some of that stuff because there's just a lot going on with that. And I'm just looking at my list here. I mean, Lindsay had her baby shower. There are the Real Houses of Dubai rumors about that being canceled. And then Chanel going on Twitter and being like, no, don't cancel us. Like, we just need to get rid of Brooks. Like, she's the problem. And really, now that I know that Chanel is such like a big tree hugger and like hates Melissa Gorga and like wants her to die, I'm like really not into her so much anymore. I didn't talk about the Golden Bachelorette, which the Golden Bachelorette, Mark, who is Kelsey's dad, is now rumored to be dating Deb Scott, who is Nathan Scott's mom on One Tree Hill. I didn't get to talk about Brandy's comments on Caroline Manzo. Caroline Manzo, Brandy said that she was like, just come out already, girl, and just tell everybody that you liked it when I was with you in the bathroom. The sooner you come out, the more your family will accept you, and like all these rainbow flags. Jersey is a mess. Jersey is a mess. The Dina Manzo stuff, disgusting. Caroline writing in support of her own sister being abused, absolutely appalling. Kim D saying the future of Roan J is bad, which I think means that Teresa's being let go. Jen Aiden is being let go. Andy said that thing where he said he wished her well. We didn't even get to talk about that. I mean, there are so many different rumors and things going on. It's really crazy. Okay, I will leave you guys with that, but please make sure you rate, review, leave a comment, 5 stars, tell people what you like about the show. If you're following me on YouTube, go to my TikTok at Bella Talks TV is everything. I don't know, guys, just go support me, please, 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 please. And keep in touch and make sure you send me any notes or anything that you want to hear about in the future. Okay, let me let you go. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. I love you all. Have a great week. Ciao, Bella.